Welcome to Illini Drive 107.7 WPGU. I'm your host, Brendyn Jones. Joined as always, incomparable Nithin, Reddy. Nithin, how are we doing today?
Incomparable. I'm trying to decide. I know, Brendyn, you hype me up a lot.
Is that not a hype?
But in context, it might be. But like
nobody compares to you, man.
Yeah, but that could be a bad thing.
I mean, I guess it could, but I didn't really mean it as a bad thing.
I'm just messing with you, Brendyn.
I didn't want to hurt your feelings, man. I always, look for different adjectives.
I know, Brendyn, you're like the nicest guy. Every show, just always coming in, giving me a compliment.
I gotta hype you up, man. You work hard.
Thank you. I mean, I know you work hard.
I try. I don't know how hard I'm actually working.
I work hard-ish.
No, you work hard, man. I seen Nithin produce a few different television programs.
Although, hey, Brendyn, you might be in the mix.
Yeah. So for those who do not know, Nithin is a producer on Illini Sports Night, which is a live TV show they do every 2 weeks, student-run thing. Really cool. Tomorrow I'm going to have the opportunity to audition for a host spot. Very excited for it.
Yeah.
Got the script this morning. Have been reading it over. Practice tonight. I'm very giddy. I'm nervous. It's something that...
Brendyn, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't want to say I know I'll be fine. I think I'll be fine. But it's just...
I know you'll be fine.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
How's your day been?
Oh, man, it's been a really good day.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I mean, I had an in-person class this morning. So I walked to class, and it was so warm outside. It was so nice. So walking back, I was like, there's no way I'm going to just do my second class on in my apartment. Mm-hmm. So me and my roommates went to Espresso Royale, did some homework. I was on my second class for a little bit, but then the Wi-Fi there was so bad, it just kicked me. So then I ended up leaving. We threw the football on the quad for 30 minutes.
Okay.
It was so nice. I'm going grocery shopping after this, figure out what I want to make for dinner. And, it was a really, really good day. It was a really good weekend. Went home this weekend, got to see my family. It was good. It's been a good last couple of days.
That's great to hear.
What about you?
It's been okay. I mean, I wish I went outside more.
Yeah.
Like the walk over to the studio, I was like, oh man, this is so great.
Such a nice day.
Yeah, and I've just been inside studying for an exam I have tomorrow.
Probably what class?
It's a stats class.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's probably what I should be doing, studying. And I have a few projects and stuff. This is my busy week, most definitely. I have a lot of stuff to do this week.
Okay. It's busy time of year.
It is so busy.
Classes coming to an end.
These last few weeks have been so busy, but next week there's only a few things that I have to do. I'm very excited for next week. Also, I'm mad my finals are the 13th and the 12th and 13th, so next Wednesday and Thursday, which is the worst time to have finals because I wanted them to be Monday, Tuesday, or both on Monday or something like that, but I have to kind of wait around for the week to be over, whatever. But
do you prefer a gap between your finals? Because that's what I kind of like. I'd rather have it Monday, Wednesday, because then I can focus mostly on one, and then that Tuesday and then the Wednesday I could focus on the other.
It depends how hard the finals are. I think I'm going to have one hard final and one that's pretty easy. Usually that's how it is. There's one that sticks out that's man, that's the one I really need to. And the other ones are as long as I've been paying attention in class, I should be fine. But I like them together. I don't like the time in between them because then you're I feel it's a little bit of wasted time. I want them back to back to back.
Okay.
Maybe two one day, one the next
Built
day.
Different. Brendyn Jones.
I want it because I'm gonna put all my energy into that 48 hours, and then after that I can just check out.
Okay. So. What's your order? Do you prefer the hardest first or the easiest first? How do you prefer you go in that?
Give me the hardest first.
Okay.
I want the hardest first because then I want the other tests to be because if I not stress out, but if I work so hard on the first tests that are easy, then I burn out for the last test that's hard. I want the hardest first, and then we can do the cakewalks later, and then I can just ease into the summer.
Totally. Got to get your dessert second.
Yeah, I love that. Man, I was looking so hard. That's what I got to get better at, transitions. That's my assignment. Speaking of dessert, man, was it sweet to see. Yeah, that was garbage, bro.
I was enjoying it though.
That was garbage.
It was interesting. It was something.
Cut the transitions, man. Illinois baseball has had a pretty up and down season.
I like that you committed to it.
I tried.
If you went all the way, it would have been great.
They are playing an only conference schedule. They're 13-14. Right now, have had a pretty average season in the Big Ten. But this weekend, man, they went to Purdue and they swept Purdue. They played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They won all three of those games. Friday 6-5, Saturday 12-4, spanking as I do say, and then Sunday. This is the game that stands out as the 11th no hitter in Illinois program history, brought to you by Riley Goins. I think he's a junior, the junior pitcher. Um, Came in and just did it. I mean, don't let it hit. That's 7 innings pitched, four
Well, you got to shout
base
out
on bosses.
the other two pitchers though,
Oh yeah,
because this
go ahead.
Obviously Riley, like
He played the most. Right?
he played.
He had the
tremendous.
7 innings.
Yeah, starting
Ryan
pitcher.
O'Hara, Cole, Kirschheiper.
Yeah.
Kirschheiper. They went in there and did their thing in the cleanup. And Illinois did the shutout, the no hitter. And yeah, it was nice, man. I haven't followed Illinois baseball as much as I should. I know that their big thing is defense. They really have big bats in those teams or in this team. You know, guys like Brendyn and such. But something that really they struggle with is giving up a lot of runs. I mean, they gave up 12 to Nebraska, 8 to Nebraska, 8 to Nebraska, 12 to Northwestern, 16 to Northwestern, 8 to Northwestern, stuff like that. Like, obviously, if you can put together bats, like that's amazing. But you also have to play defense. You have to pitch well, and that's what they did throughout this weekend. I mean, gave up 5 to Purdue on Friday, 4 to Purdue on Saturday, and obviously shut them out on Sunday. I'm a bad journalist. I have no idea how this is going to work. I mean, well, they have an NCAA regional in the beginning of June, so we'll see like how that works.
You should have called Gabby.
I should have and had her call in, see what the playoffs are like for this team. I'll have that information for you guys on Wednesday. But yeah, I mean, this is a team. 13-14 isn't an abysmal record by any means.
Especially in only conference play, but it's not great.
It's not great, but they are on a 3-game win streak after sweeping Purdue. They I'm trying to find the rest of the schedule. They head to Michigan this weekend, 2 games there, and then they also play Northwestern this weekend. Oh, this is like a what do they call it? Not a tournament, but like a multi-team event. That's what I'm gonna call it. Like
an MTE.
MTE. They play both Michigan and Northwestern this weekend. Oh, they call it a pod. That's what it is.
Pod.
And then
they do have a doubleheader
right
on Sunday.
Right. So that'll be interesting, and let's see if they can keep it rolling. But yeah, Illinois baseball, man. What have you? How closely have you followed this team, Nithin?
From afar. Like I'm not obviously super in depth on it, but I understand it's kind of been an up and down season. Like you've been a little streaky throughout the year. Mm-hmm. But I mean, anytime you get a no hitter, like even last year, looking at the Cubs, you get a no hitter from Alec Mills, and obviously it's not a great season, but there's a moment in time you can remember.
No, yeah, and
it's great that this kind of goes on with the softball team, who Sydney Sickles threw a no hitter.
Sydney Sickles is cold.
She's nasty. Threw a no hitter earlier in the season, and that's the first time it's ever been done in Illinois history where you get a softball no-hitter and a baseball no-hitter in the same season, which I think is really cool.
Not even just the same season, the same month.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know when Sydney Sickles' exact day was, but matter of 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because, like, just the feat of a no-hitter. I don't know if you saw that. I forget who threw it, but there was a softball pitcher that had a, perfect game with every out was a strikeout. Like, there's some insane things that are happening in baseball, and the fact that Illinois can be a part of it,
yeah,
I think is really cool. And just we all know no hitters are they're a big deal. Like, no matter what level you throw them at,
right.
Throwing a no hitter in college baseball is no joke.
Mm-hmm. The softball game you're talking about comes from North Texas. Earlier this month, she had 21 strikeouts. She struck out every batter she faced.
Yeah,
that was wild. 21 strikeouts. That's literally automatic. It is automatic. That's right. Yeah.
So Kerry Wood with no hits,
right? Exactly.
But better.
This team is going to be interesting to see. They hit really well. They're an exciting team to watch, but they're also a frustrating team to watch with how many runs they do give up. But yeah, I mean, look, they have Michigan, Northwestern, Maryland, and Iowa, Penn State, Rutgers, and that finishes their season. Those are all the series that they have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 games left in the season. So, man, make your way. I don't know if you can go. I don't know if the baseball field's open to fans. Is it?
Well, I don't think it is, but you can sit like I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
those
I've been to
videos
the
of just
baseball
people
field. Yeah,
in the not the bleachers, but
that area. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
because the bleachers aren't there, how would you call like I don't know.
The side.
Yeah,
Sure. Me and Nithin are so good at talking about sports.
we're basketball and football.
Ridiculous
people.
how good we are. Yeah, but they are also some of these games are streamed on Big Ten Plus. A lot of them are on the radio on at 1400 AM. But yeah, I mean, this team is the team to watch. They're an exciting baseball team. I kind of want to talk about other Illinois sports that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Man,
Tennis, I feel like.
oh yeah, we need to. Let me pull up their thing real quick. We need to talk about tennis because that tennis team has done some crazy things this season so far.
Yeah, I mean, it started with being the number one team in the country, USC, and they placed, I believe, third in that event where they beat the number one team and I think the number 7 team in Virginia.
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no. So Illinois is right now 18-2 overall. In that ITA national team indoor championships, they beat South California 4-1.
USC.
What did I say?
You said South California.
That's not what I meant. USC.
Well, I'm just specifying.
No, you're 100% right. I did. It didn't sound right coming out of my mouth. So I'm glad you said something. They beat USC.
Brendyn, I got you.
Nithin always got me. They beat USC 4-1. That they were the number 1 ranked team in that country. They then lost to number 4 team Baylor, but then they beat number 7 Virginia 4-3. They have played through the Big Ten Conference. They beat Michigan, who is number 25. But yeah, I mean, an 18-2 record is ridiculous. 15-1 in the conference. Only loss in the conference came to number 9 Ohio State.
Number 2 team in the Big Ten West champs.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been a very eventful season for
very eventful season. Their Big Ten tournament is actually this weekend, April 29th, Thursday to May 2nd, Sunday. And then the NCAA tournaments start May 7th through May 9th. And then they continue. That's the first and second rounds, and then they continue the next weekend and then the weekend after that. So this is definitely a team that's not only good in the Big Ten, as you see, they've only lost 1 game, but is competitive with the other teams in the country, like USC, like Virginia, that are also really good. So this may be a team that is on, may I say, national championship watch?
Yeah, I mean, they first have to beat Ohio State because Ohio State gave them a lot of trouble early in the season. I think that's the first hurdle you got to get through. But they're capable. They have a lot of great players. I mean, Zeke Clark jumps out, the 5th-year senior, came back. He's pretty scrappy, a little bit shorter than you'd expect for a tennis player, but he's so quick and he's got such a great front hand that it's similar to like a Rafa Nadal, where he's just always running on the court. They got a lot of really good players, and Illinois tennis is one that just always brings in some really good recruits. They have another guy, Kwesi Kenyatta, I think I'm saying that right, who's 6'7". Just
I saw him
nasty
playing.
Serve.
I saw him playing, I think, earlier this year at the courts that are over there by the Six Pack. And you see this like just huge person playing.
He's so big.
It's like a basketball recruit or something like that.
Yeah.
I was trying to look at him, see which basketball player it was. And they're like, nah. And then like they're actually like you get kind of closer, they're actually playing tennis. Like you could tell that they're like for real. He must be on the tennis team. Looking at the roster now makes total sense that he's on the tennis team.
Yeah, I know. And they have just it's not a lot of guys that like you look at and are just like, oh, yeah, that guy's great. That guy's great. It's more like they're just a complete team. They have a lot of really good players. They don't have any super high end ones, but it's depth. And in tennis, especially for a team sport like tennis, when you're playing at a collegiate level, you need to have guys at the back end, which is great to see from this men's tennis team.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this team. This is another team that I kind of want to follow throughout the rest of the season. And it'll be interesting. I feel always bad because the spring sports usually don't get that much coverage. I mean, people are so, especially this year,
Mhm.
you have a coaching change in football. You have a basketball team that was one of the best in the nation.
And we kind of condensed all the sports into
One
too.
season. I mean, into one semester, really, because of the fact that only football. I mean, the last part of the first semester, basketball, women's basketball were playing, or men's basketball, women's basketball were playing. But yeah, I mean, this Illinois, like people forget because of the recent success of the basketball team. Like 3 years ago, Illinois was a non-revenue sport college. Like
Yeah.
wrestling, volleyball, tennis, their track team, their
Golf.
gymnastics team, their golf team, especially team that we haven't talked about. Those are all really, really competitive teams. Teams that really made their mark, for this university. So I feel like we rarely talk about them, but we definitely should talk about them more as they are the only teams playing.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking with the non-revenue, if we're looking at women's tennis, they've had a bit of an up and down season, 500, but they're coming off a great win, senior night against Northwestern, the number 7 team in the country. Major upset there. Shout out the women's team for just pulling off what one might say the impossible.
Yeah, I mean, going into a team when before that you were obviously below 500, beating a ranked team in the top 10, especially on senior night, like that's so polar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like
that is a great
against
feeling.
Northwestern, your in-state rival. Man, I mean, you can't write a better ending to that season. And obviously, everything that's happened, you hope they're competitive. They play Purdue on Thursday, the Big Ten tournament, to see if they will then advance, and then their NCAA tournament is next weekend, the May 7th through the 9th. So, yeah, I mean, this is another team that, I mean, we saw it with even women's soccer this year. What was it, Iowa, who came in like one of the last seasons and was able to just string together some wins in the Big Ten tournament and make the NCAA
Unfortunately,
tournament.
knocked off Illinois.
That was tough, but I mean, look, I'm actually very excited as the season's gone down to check some of these non-revenue sports out.
Yeah, and if we're continuing with that, let's take a look at golf because
they're always great.
They're always great. And
Jerry G is different. He's a different breed.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember covering golf my freshman year for the Daily Illini, and guys like Adrian Dumont, Chassard, Michael Fiegels.
Fiegels has been so good.
Fiegels has been so good. Tommy Cool, Brendan O'Reilly, Giovanni Tadiotto, even these guys that that got that extra year and were able to come back. This team is very, very solid, and they're pretty good young. I mean, Jerry G has been his 2 years at Illinois have been really crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, like this is a PSA, but look towards these non-revenue sports. They're great. They're phenomenal, and they're really what give Illinois the backing in athletics, because I mean basketball, while they have had success recently, can't forget 3-4 years ago when they just weren't on the par, and then football is going through a coaching change for a reason. So, you hear what Corey Patterson said today?
No, what did he say?
He said that he's learned more in the last 3 months than he has in the last 3 years.
I mean, I just don't like when people say that, like especially when coordinators or assistants say that, because it's just it could be smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Or 2, it's just a bad look for the former regime.
When we come back on Illini Drive, we are going to talk about basketball.
Oh.
The NBA.
Yeah.
It is heating up. And I mean, I don't know what else to say except for I'm so sick of watching Denzel Valentine on the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, boy. Why'd you have to go there?
Because I'm going to talk about
All
it
right.
when we come back on Illini Drive. Welcome back to Illini Drive 171 WPGU. The NBA is kind of funny, Nithin. This is like, I saw this a couple days ago. Well, there's a few funny things. This isn't what that was not funny, but I'm going to talk about later. But this fan on April 18th, after the Trailblazers lost to the Hornets, Damian Lillard was out. A fan tweeted, he said, "Dame, how's your hamstring? I need you guys to win 42 games."
This is so sad. What are you talking about?
Hold on. Huge fan, even if I'm in the mansion or homeless. I hope this man doesn't lose his house. I really hope.
He's got to be capping a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Like maybe he put a large
lot of
sum of money, but like it can't be like that.
So Dame Lillard tweets him back, say less. That was 4 games ago. They had 16 games left. Their record was 32 and
it was 24 at the time.
It was 32 and 24. They needed to win 10 out of 16 to save this man's house. They have lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And with games coming up against the Grizzlies, who they just lost 2 in a row to, the Nets, the Celtics, the Hawks, the Lakers, when probably either AD or LeBron or maybe both will be back, the Jazz, the Suns, and the Nuggets. Man, I think this man is losing his house. That is the saddest thing of all time. And I also just feel so bad because Dame Lillard was like, okay, I'm coming back next game. Like, say less. I'm going to get this to you. Which would have been a crazy run to do. Some Dame stuff to do. I really hope this man doesn't lose his house.
I mean, there's only 2 non-playoff teams right now they're facing.
That's tough, bro. It's just, I think that's so tragically funny that he tweeted him back, say less, and then he just loses 4.
Yeah, that's just rough because like Dame's the guy everyone wants to root for.
I know, and I feel like I want to root for him too, and I wanted them to win 42 games, and I still hope they do. But it's going to be a tough road, and it just is. It's tough that Dame Lillard was like, "Say less, I got you."
Yeah, it is pretty tough.
Then proceeded to not have him.
But it only gets tougher with the Chicago Bulls.
It only gets tougher with me and Nithin, Chicago Bulls. Man, so I'm a Bulls. I'm a basketball fan because of my dad. My dad grew up in Chicago. I used to play with him all the time. I remember bonding with him, because of the 2009, 2010, 2011 Bulls, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, guys like this. And whenever I'm home, if there's a Bulls game on, I want to watch it with my dad. So Saturday night, man, it's Bulls versus Heat. My favorite player, Jimmy Butler. Bulls are playing in Miami against Jimmy Butler, against this Heat team that has had struggles, but is obviously dangerous because of how good defensively they are, and also offensively with guys like all down their roster. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson. The game starts off just atrocious. Duncan Robinson hits 4 threes in like the first 4 minutes, has like 12 points. The Bulls are losing 4-6. It's a bad game, and we keep watching it throughout the whole game. Down 20 in the third quarter, but my Bulls start to claw their way back from the depths. Man, they score more. They outscore the Heat in the third quarter. They outscore them in the beginning of the fourth quarter. In places where they weren't able to score, in places where they weren't able to get buckets and defend, they were. Kobe White had a phenomenal second half after really struggling in the first half, being defended largely by Jimmy Butler. A minute left. The Bulls inbound the ball to none other than, and this is without Zach LaVine, who's in health.
Well, no, this is off a rebound, I believe.
Was it off a rebound?
I'm pretty sure.
I have the video on my Twitter, so I can pull it up. Either way, the ball lands in Denzel Valentine's hand with a minute left. The Bulls are down 5. Denzel Valentine dribbles up the court and sees that Jimmy Butler is sagging off him and pulls up with 18 seconds left on the shot clock. 5 or 6 feet behind the three-point arc.
He thought he was Steph Curry.
He thought he was Steph Curry, and he airballs, Nithin. And then the next play, he goes there and fouls Duncan Robinson and gives him an and-one attempt. And I mean, you have to watch the video because I saw that live and I was in awe. I couldn't control myself. Like, I said some things about Denzel Valentine that if I said in front of him, he would beat me up. And I was just so hurt because this team had fought back from such a devastatingly, tough. And even in the fourth quarter, it's not like the Heat just gave it up. Like, Jimmy Butler was scoring. Bam Adebayo was scoring. The guys you want to score were scoring, but the Bulls were playing really good defense. Kobe White was insane in that fourth quarter, and you just saw it when he pulled up. You saw it on everybody's face. It was just, what are you doing? Like, Billy Donovan turned around, and I mean, I love the Bulls post game show. Like, Kendall Gill was calling him out, and Adam Amin and Stacey King were just ripping on him. There was nobody in the whole building that was like, I like that shot. That's a good shot. What is Denzel?
I don't know. I mean, there's all we need to really say is just watch the actual clip live, because you can hear Adam Amin, you can hear Stacey King just
he's like, no,
Denzel, and that was the fans' reaction, because I mean, in no world did I think it was going in. And
At
not
all.
only did it not
At
go
all.
in, he airballed it left by like a solid foot.
Yes.
And you don't get a rebounding opportunity. And you're basically losing the game at that point. When instead you could cut it to a 1-possession game, get a layup, maybe 3-point game. You have time to get a stop, get another possession, and you can extend this and you can actually try to play for overtime. Instead, the Denzel Valentine experience, which has never lived up,
Ever.
has once again failed.
After the game, Denzel Valentine said, "Oh, like I had made 3 in a row, and I kind of got ahead of myself. It was a bad shot." What do you even say in that moment? Like, yeah, he said it was a bad shot, of course. Like,
Yeah.
But like, what do you like? And what killed me the most was that this Bulls roster, I mean, has obviously like faced and Denzel Valentine for what he is, like he's a solid 3-point shooter, like he's a scoring option. So they had to keep him in, and that's what hurt. Is because like I was so angry just watching him still be in that game because like just the guard depth isn't there, especially without Zach LaVine.
I mean, that's really the problem because you don't have Zach LaVine and you need shooters out there. And Denzel Valentine's a solid shooter when he's open.
Right.
The problem is he's not a solid shooter when he's pulling up from 30 feet.
This prompted some guy on Twitter. I want to shout him out.
I got it. It's at DM Frank _ with just a beautiful thread.
A beautiful thread that is titled...
A beautifully ugly thread.
An ugly thread that is titled Denzel Valentine is the worst player in NBA history.
Yeah, which I think is a little harsh. Like, yeah.
Okay, so like when you... But here's the thing about the worst player, right? You can't just go by the guy who's the least talented or like the least skilled. You have to go with somebody who like gets a lot of minutes and still sucks. So I don't think Denzel Valentine's the worst player in NBA history. I think he's a talented guy, but I think that he might be one of the most absent-minded players in the history that I've seen. He prompted a thread of just Denzel Valentine's worst moments, whether that's flashy passes that just don't work.
Yeah.
Whether that's him bumping into Zach LaVine when Zach LaVine is trying to win the game against OKC. That game was so tough. I hated that game.
Yeah.
And I remember that Denzel Valentine bumping into him as he goes in. Basically fouled Zach LaVine on the shot attempt. But the thing that struck me the most from those 5 or 6 videos that were on it, all of them were from this year. Like there were no fans in any of those, meaning that they were all from this COVID year. And
the only one was the like Drew League one.
Oh yeah, but
and
he got embarrassed. That was 5 years ago. Everybody should see that video, and that's when he lost confidence as an NBA player. He gets embarrassed by this guy that isn't even in the league, like very badly, all game. His name's Frank Nitty. But it makes me ask the question like, how many more Denzel Valentine clips are there from the last this is 6th or 7th year in the league, from the last half decade that are just equally as like, what are you doing, Denzel?
No, there's got to be a lot because he sometimes has the Nikola Mirotic shot selection, but he's just not as good of a shooter as Mirotic. Yeah. And like that, I think the passes are what's most upsetting though out of all this. Like especially
100%.
The one against the Bucks. Like
100%. He thought he was Dwayne Wade.
Well, more than that, you're down by I think 38 points at that point. And you're trying to pull that off when you have a layup. And it's just like, it's basketball IQ. It's basketball 101. Just no time and place. Understand, like, who cares? Even if you make this pass and you get a dunk off of it, you're down 36 points.
Take the layup.
Yeah, it means almost nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
I don't know. I think it's just a microcosm of the Bulls season where you had so much hope and we didn't have to think about Denzel Valentine. And now Zach LaVine gets hurt and you're struggling. You're looking like a team that's not going to even make the play-in game at this point. And it's kind of all falling apart. And Denzel Valentine's just a perfect example with what is maybe the worst play in the Bulls season.
Denzel Valentine and Cristiano Felicio, the longest tenured Bulls. What are the odds that these guys are on the team next year?
Well, Felicio's is up, right? His contract's up. I believe Valentine's is too. So
hope so.
Felicio, there's like a 0% chance. Absolutely. Unless it's like
I don't know if he'll even be in the NBA next year.
Yeah. I mean, the only way is it would be a minimum deal, like 13th guy on the roster. Denzel Valentine, there's a shot.
I think he'll be in the league.
Felicio?
Denzel.
Yeah, he'll probably be. I mean, Cameron Payne got a second chance. So, like,
Yeah.
these guys do get
They
opportunities.
kind of remind me of each other. But I feel like Cameron Payne's a little less goofy.
It's crazy because Cameron Payne, if we were talking about the two like 2 years ago, there's no way anyone's saying Denzel Valentine's worse. But it's pretty clear, like, Cameron Payne's been great in Phoenix.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Maybe Denzel needs to go surround himself with people that are like, people that are gonna. It's hard because I remember Garrett Temple brings him over. After that shot and is talking to him, and Stacey King's like, "That's what you want to see from this team. You want to see vets go to young
I love
players."
Garrett Temple.
Huh?
I love Garrett Temple.
Huge fan of that pickup. Just huge fan of that pickup. What made me upset about what Stacey King said, Denzel Valentine's not a young player. He's 27 years.
He's not.
He's played 5 years in this league. I'm looking at his.
He played, I believe,
played all 4 years
in college.
At college, and he wasn't some guy. He played in the Big Ten. He was the National College Player of the Year his senior year.
Yeah, Sports Illustrated. I think
Sports Illustrated National
was Buddy Hield that year.
Yes, you're right. Was the Big Ten Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And was some guy that, like, one, you play 4 years at a program like Michigan State. You better be seasoned coming into the.
And he was seasoned. His game was getting to the rim. It was making 3-pointers, and it was passing.
Yeah.
Like, it was playmaking for other guys. Like, I don't understand how we got to this 100%. Point with Denzel Valentine.
5 years in the league. His third year, he was injured, did not play at all. But that's, one of those years you kind of sit on the bench and learn, you hope. He's not a young player. He's almost 28 years old.
He's not.
It's very frustrating. Like, you expect that from, I don't want to say Kobe White because I don't think he would do that. But you expect that from a young player who gets hot in the game and thinks he could do that.
I could kind of see Kobe White doing it. Although I think Kobe White's more likely to make the shot.
Oh, but I think Kobe White's big issue that I saw, especially in the first half, is that he is being told to be a facilitating guy and being told to be a playmaking guy.
He's not.
And so he thinks too much about it. And I think that's where a lot of his turnovers came. I know he had the one where he double dribbled because he saw Jimmy Butler come where the previous play he threw that same pass and Jimmy steals it. He thinks a lot. And I think that Kobe White being a scoring first guard, which I think at heart is what he is, you saw that in the second half. When he did that, when he scored first and he was getting to the rim and he was making his catch and shoot opportunities, the floor opened up and he was making a lot of passes. There were some assists that I wish I had, that led to fouls or led to even misses, that you're like, that's what I want from Kobe White. But I think that, man, Denzel's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most concerning thing is that his 3-point shooting is getting worse, which makes no sense. And he's no longer able to even provide the skills that he provided.
Yeah.
Like, passing and shooting were his skills. And he's only getting 1.7 assists per game this year. Granted, his minutes are down. But he's also only shooting 32% from 3, which isn't good.
It's not, man. I hope the best for Denzel Valentine. I hope that he, figures something out. But
Zach, please come back.
Zach, please
come back.
I know you have. I hope you don't have the Rona.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. You hear about guys like Jason Tatum.
He's been out for a while, though. Like, I feel like he's be coming back soon.
Yeah, Zach LaVine hasn't played, I think, in 2 weeks. So, yeah, I want him to come back, and I want him to be healthy. But, yeah, I don't want Denzel Valentine or Cristiano Felicio on the Bulls roster next year. Did you see that video of AK, fist bumping everybody and then not fist bumping Laurie Markkinen?
Oh, no, I didn't.
He, it was after the win, and he, fist bumps Satoransky, he fist bumps, Kobe, he fist bumps Patrick Williams, he fist bumps Vucevic, and then he I don't want to make too much out of it because I don't think it's anything, but everybody was. And he hits Vucevic, and then he, grabs Vucevic by his shoulder and then walks into the tunnel with him. And you see Laurie Markkinen come later after he's, fist bumped everybody. I don't want to make – if it was anybody but Laurie, I would be like, oh, that's nothing. But the fact that the rumors are that they don't really want Laurie around long term.
Yeah.
It's tough. I love Laurie. I don't think he'll be on the team next year.
It's been a tough 2 months for the Bulls because you trade for Vucevic – and you're thinking, all right, this should be a 7 seed. This should be a team that's competing, going to make the playoffs, going to have probably a first-round exit, but Zach LaVine's going to go off. He's going to maybe play a nice series against Brooklyn or Milwaukee or whoever they face. Instead, you're at the point where if you get in the play-in game, you'd be happy. It's just the way the Wizards are playing, the way you're playing, the fact that your best player is out right now. It's a lot of negativity that's happening to this team.
And the worst part about this whole thing is that if you miss, you're gonna most likely miss the play-in game.
Yeah,
right? That's what I'm looking at right now. We have 15 games left.
Yeah, 2 games back.
2 games back. The Wizards are playing phenomenal right now. The Raptors are playing a little bit better than you. Not much better, but a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Worst thing about this, and I still love the trade, but if you don't get a top 4 pick, it goes to Orlando.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like, when you at least the consolidation of doing bad is you get a high draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not high enough, it goes to Orlando, and that's what hurts the most about this season.
Yeah, and it's still probably going to be like in that 6, 7, 8 range.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like the best case scenario for Orlando, which, I mean, this is what happens though when you don't have like a lot of scoring options, and when Zach LaVine gets hurt, it's up to Vucevic and it's up to Kobe White, and that's not enough. Like Lauri Markkanen hasn't been the same guy that he was earlier in the season, and some of the other role players have kind of struggled, which is concerning.
It's going to be tough, man. But that's going to lead us to our final break. When we get back, man, the Oscars were yesterday. But what's better than a sports movie? A lot of things, but not a lot of things. I don't know what that really means. Me and Nithin are going
Transition Brendyn.
Transition Brendyn. That's me, man. That's me. I'm in my bag today. We're going to talk about sports movies and do some interesting stuff. So stick with us on Illini Drive, 107.1 WPGU. Welcome back to Illini Drive, 107.1 WPGU. Man, the Oscars were last weekend. I'm not a big Oscars guy. Like, I'm not going to go watch, the Best Picture nominees or stuff like that. Like, I'm going to watch the movies I want to watch, and if they're also nominated for Oscars, like, congratulations.
I took a Max class my freshman year, so 2017, and that's the only year I've watched, like, I think I watched, like, 6 of the Oscar-nominated movies. I was like, wow, these movies are actually pretty good.
Yeah, they're good, but it's just like, I feel like if I'm not drawn to them immediately, like somebody telling me it's good isn't going to be enough for me to be like, okay, like I need to sit down and watch this.
So wait, what do you mean by that? That's kind of interesting.
Well, like I'm going to watch a movie if it seems interesting to me, or if I think, oh, that'll be good, or even if I don't know necessarily if it'll be good, like the subject. Like I watched this weekend I watched Mortal Kombat, and it sucked. I hated it. But
I've heard bad things about it.
So bad. Honestly, I wasted my time. But that's the type of movie that I think, I would like. But like, for instance, like if a movie that I have no desire in watching, like based on its subject material, based on its genre, whatever,
so you
is nominated.
Watch Shape of Water. That's what
I actually did watch.
Oh,
Shape
you did? What'd you think?
That movie is I have the funniest story about how I watched that movie. It was weird. It was really weird.
It's weird.
I don't know if it was good or not, but that's the thing is like some of these movies are so abstract and good, or abstract and different. I don't know if they're good or not. That's so funny that you bring up Shape of Water because I have such a funny story in my head about that. The draft what am I saying? Oscars were yesterday. Draft is Thursday. What better way than to combine them? Transition's getting better, man.
Oh yeah.
What better way to combine them than to do a Illini Drive sports movie draft?
Let's do it.
Man, I am very bad at drafts in Illini Drive history. I've realized every time I have a draft, I look back and I'm like, what was I thinking? So this hopefully isn't going to be another one of those. But Nithin, I want you to get first pick.
Wait, no. We should do a coin toss.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be official.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
My computer's slow. Can you get one generated?
Yes.
Okay.
Coin toss. Do call it in the air.
Heads. No, I made a mistake.
Tails.
Yes, I knew it.
I get first pick.
So do you want to just go back and forth?
Yeah, let's just go back and forth, man. With my
whoa.
Oh. With the first pick.
I mean, I had to do it because you did it last time.
I love that. That's my favorite thing I've ever done on the show, possibly. With the first pick in the Illini Drive Sports Movies Draft, Brennan Jones selects White Men Can't Jump.
Oh,
I
okay.
absolutely love that movie. It's hilarious. Wesley Snipes and oh my god, I'm blanking on
Woody
it.
Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson are phenomenal. They have great chemistry. I think the premise of the movie is unlike many other sports movies. I think sometimes sports movies have like a weird like trope that they always follow, and that's not it. And I love that movie. So that's my first pick.
That's a good pick.
I
I
think
wouldn't take it number one. I mean, I love White Man Can't Jump.
yeah.
I like have it
I'm
on.
scared because I don't never know which to take number one because I never know which one you're gonna take.
Okay,
But
that's actually a good point.
yeah, that's the thing.
So with my first pick, I mean, it's the greatest sports movie of all time, in my opinion, but definitely the best movie of this century, Moneyball.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
whoa.
that's not on my big board.
Oh my God, Brendyn.
I think it's a good movie, and I think I like it. But when I think of sports movies, I think of nostalgia. To me, like that's a huge thing. Like growing up watching these sports movies, and I think Moneyball just missed the mark for me.
Well, what do you mean by that? Do you have to be like? It came out in 2010, so like we were still
I just
fairly young.
so that movie is like not complicated. I think, but it's not like a traditional sports movie in the terms of like all that stuff, and like I just think the whole like.
Well, that's what's so great about it.
I know,
It's
and
not
I
the
agree. I think it's a good movie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you
It's a good movie.
I think it's a really good movie. I like Moneyball. I think the performances.
It's
in
a
it are great.
fantastic movie.
Fantastic.
Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill,
Love
Chris
both
Pratt.
those guys. Love all of those guys.
Oh my God, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Sure.
Oh,
And I need to rewatch it because I haven't watched it in a few years. But yeah, sure. I'm glad that you took that pick.
we're gonna have to post this to Twitter to see.
Okay, I'm down.
What the audience.
My next movie, the next one off the board is for Brendyn is Creed. I think
Which one?
the first one.
Okay, yeah.
Creed 2 is good, and it's a really good sequel. The first one is just different, bro.
I think I like Creed 2 more just because.
Think so?
Well, okay, I love Rocky and the storylines from it.
Right, it converges a little bit.
they do.
Definitely.
Well.
I love Creed 2, but I'm such a big fan of Creed 1. I think I like Creed 1 maybe 2, maybe better than 2 because I'm not a huge Rocky fan.
Okay.
Never really got into it, seen him, but have never really got into him. But I just love Creed. Michael B. Jordan is one of my favorite actors. I think he does a phenomenal job. Sylvester Stallone also does a really, really good job in the movies. And I love the premise, and that's why Creed is my second pick.
That's a good pick. I love Creed. Yeah, everything you said's right. MBJ, the man.
Man, what a guy.
Love that dude. Okay, with my second pick, I'm gonna stick in the family. Rocky 4.
Okay.
And Brendyn,
tell me on Rocky 4.
Okay, so I know you're not the biggest Rocky fan.
Okay.
But Rocky's the OG.
He is.
And there's so much to love about Rocky 4. It's both a great movie, a terrible movie, a fun movie, a weird movie, all rolled into one. You got this weird Cold War dynamic going on between the Americans and the Russians. And then you also have a redemption story within it with obviously Apollo Creed. Well, okay, spoiler alert.
Oh, it came out 40 years ago.
I know, but I might as well put it.
Sure.
Spoiler alert. Okay. Apollo Creed gets killed by Ivan Drago. And then Rocky has to defend his honor. It goes so well into the Creed storylines that we see in Creed 1 and Creed 2. I love Rocky 4. The montages are also the best montages of all time.
Kind of popularized, yeah. My next pick, have to go with it, was actually thinking about it today when I was playing football. If you drop a pass, you run a mile.
Oh, okay.
If you, what about, I don't know. It's Denzel Washington, the better Denzel when we talk about Denzels today. And at one of his best, it's Remember the Titans. I mean,
great movie.
That movie is fundamental in any football fan movie type thing. Just a great movie. I have no more to say about how good that movie is. I love it. It's such a rewatchable movie. It's such a feel-good movie. It's sad. It humbles you, but also it makes you love football.
Yeah, and it's like a Disney sports movie that's more than just the typical like Mighty Ducks or a typical trope that you see with sports movies. And it has sort of like a lot of great messages within it about like taking out boundaries and it's a great movie. With my third pick, another classic, The Karate Kid.
Love it, man. Love it.
And I mean, so you got the poor kid from New Jersey who comes to California. Daniel LaRusso. He wants to just fit in. Mm-hmm. But first off, he picks the fights. I mean, I'm not a big Daniel LaRusso guy.
I love the what am I thinking? Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai is so good. I love Cobra Kai.
Such a good sequel, follow-up type thing.
Yeah.
It also kind of flips the script about like who maybe not is the real villain, but like there's misunderstandings.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. There's your typical tropes. Then there's also the characters in it, which I think are my favorite. I really enjoy Johnny Lawrence because he's both a villain, but he's also kind of a misunderstood villain that you
100%.
see in Cobra Kai. And then Mr. Miyagi, I mean, the greatest teacher of all time.
Yeah, I mean, he is like, I don't know how to say it, but like he's just like big. I think when you think of like movie like mentors or movie teachers, it's Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah,
that's what it is. My next movie, the great Sandlot. I don't think you can talk about sports.
Brendyn, you're gonna get mad at me. I've actually never seen. I've never seen Sandlot.
I was gonna say it's one of those movies that like it's fundamental, especially like for baseball, and I think it reminds us of like I feel like sports movies all the time is like, man, like how good can you be? Like, like oh, can this guy make it to college? Can this guy make it to the pro? Whatever. Sandlot is just kids playing baseball in the backyard and just reliving the glory days of being a kid, and I think that's why it's so rewatchable. That's why it's so memorable. It's a summertime movie. I love it, man.
All right, solid. I mean, I can't really comment on it just because I've never seen it.
I mean, that's valid. If you haven't seen it, you haven't seen it. But I think you should. Yeah. I think you'd like it.
Okay.
It's also a movie that, I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know if it aged well. But
all right.
I hope it did.
So I was thinking about picking Creed at this point, Creed 2. But you know what? I don't want to.
You're not going to step on my list?
I don't want to take one of yours because then it's just I'm getting a watered-down version. Where I don't want to make a match.
Sure.
I'm going to take a newer movie. One that came out just, I believe, 2 years ago. No, last year. Uncut Gems.
Okay.
It's not
a
typical sports movie, but it's a sports betting movie.
Right,
and there's a lot of sports elements to it. KG makes an appearance.
Love
it. Did you know that like Joel Embiid was almost the KG role?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was their original person.
I like that they stuck with KG.
Yeah, the accents felt a little weird with Joel Embiid in it. But Adam Sandler, first serious role, fantastic in it.
Really good. I love Uncut Gems, a great movie. Tragic, like such a roller coaster of emotions. Not going to spoil anything, but really good movie. And I think also like with how prominent sports betting is getting right now in the sporting community, is going to be a movie that looks back and they're like, man, like a lot of people are going to look back in like 5 years and appreciate it more even than they do right now. I juggle with this one. I love sports movies that are also funny. So I was juggling 2 movies, and I think I'm going to have to go with Talladega Nights.
Oh, okay.
The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, man. I love that movie. It is so funny. Everything in it is so quotable. You think about John C. Reilly and you think about Will Ferrell. That's some of their best roles.
They're so good together.
So good together, man. And yeah, it's just phenomenal, and I love that. I also was thinking about Dodgeball, but I had to go with Talladega Nights.
Well, speaking of Dodgeball,
are you gonna pick it?
So I kind of had a similar thought process as you. I should have probably picked like Hoosiers or a classic movie like that, or Any Given Sunday, something like that. But I need some comedy with my list,
of course,
as well. And it was between Dodgeball and Semi-Pro.
Ooh, Semi-Pro is my next one off too.
But I'm gonna go Dodgeball because Vince Vaughn. I love Vince Vaughn. I love Justin Long. It's both like just a down to earth movie, but also like an over the top, way too inappropriate, 100%. Hilarious movie. Dodgeball is going to round it out for me.
Love it, man. Well, Nithin's list goes 1 Moneyball, 2 Rocky, 4, 3 Karate Kid, 4 Uncut Gems, and 5 Dodgeball. And then I'm going with White Man Can't Jump, Creed, Remember the Titans, Sandlot, and Talladega Nights. We're going to post this on Twitter, but we have to get out of here a little over time. Thanks for joining us on Illini Drive. Gabby and Josh, I think, will be here tomorrow. Maybe not Gabby. She has some auditions with me.
Carson, right?
Josh and Carson, probably.
No, Carson's actually going to be at the auditions, too.
We'll figure it, man. Josh will figure it out.
Be.
I'm not going to lie to you guys anymore. This has been a fun one on Illini Drive, 107.1 WPGU.